Hello and welcome along to this YouTube production here from Andy Holding Speedfigures.co.uk. Andy here speaking ahead of this decent card at Navan on Sunday, November the 22nd. We've got Grade 2 action for you. The Monksfield Novices Hurdle, probably the pick, or certainly the most competitive of the two Grade 2s, and some of the decent races along the card along the way. Starting off with the main hurdle of 2.5 miles at 11:40. Wide receiver sets a standard here, courtesy of his third over the course last time out. Behind Angola, but that time figure wasn't exactly sensational. In fact, it was probably one of the slowest on the card, and you would have certainly expected the back end sectionals to be very good, considering they went so slow, but that didn't materialise either. So, just be reluctant about backing wide receiver at a very short price, particularly as he's up against a couple of horses from the point-to-point fields, namely Shadow Rider and Falcano. Both of those two trained by Gordon Elliott and Willie Mullins, respectively. If they know their job and they're fit enough to do themselves justice, they could prove troublesome, along with Ashdale Bob as well. We've got some decent form last season over hurdle. So all in all, I think wide receiver at odds on, I'd probably just lay him there at a short price and have the other three running for me. On to the 310, the 1210, first of the Grade 2 actions. It's the Monksfield Novices Hurdle. Gordon Elliott looks as though he's got a strong hand here. He's got Farid Delane, who is unbeaten in all his races so far to date. And he won quite easily first time out at Down Royal, albeit the time figure didn't exactly amount to much. And the four horses that he beat weren't exactly world beaters either. So I think he's got to improve to win this, and I wouldn't take a short price about him. I do think he's stable companion at Fakira. Arguably, he's got better form as it stands at the moment. That run when he beats Gabin Arco has been advertised by the winner yesterday. I think the step up in triple suits him. He's a brave and honest horse, as you can see by his form figures and his time figures as well. We've got a collection of numbers against his name to suggest he's easily up to this standard. And at 4-1, 9-2 this morning, I think Fakira definitely is worth backing, perhaps in the with and the without the favourite markets. The handicap hurdle at 12:40 does absolutely nothing for me as well. We've got a top-rated horse here, rated 49, so that's a race I'd quickly dismiss based on their numbers. But the 110 looks a little bit more appetising, quite like Elite Trooper Grey here, who finished an honourable third here last time out in quite a strongly run race. The race went the way of Young Ned of the Hill, but the time figure was pretty good for that race. Particularly in line with the other races on the card. It was quicker than the Grade 2 hurdle won by Ngolo. So I do feel as though that form is pretty useful. We've got, a good solid base of his runs as well to suggest that blinkers definitely work for him. The 3 times he's won blinkers, he's finished second, he's won and finished third. And his victory the time before is pretty impressive. And he was quite unlucky as well here when he finished third the other day. He finished strongly on the running, but he made a bad mistake at the second last just when there's the heat of the races cranking up. So going back to the scene of that run, run by Gordon Elliott, one of his local tracks that he does really well at, I'd expect Elite Trooper Grey to be very difficult to beat there in the 110. 145, very appetising beginner's chase between 3 of the good novice hurdlers from last season, and Tukas, Blackbow and Alpha Mix. Blackbow's obviously favourite. He's been running in graded races, and William Mullins has got a dearth of talent in this particular department. But, and Tukas ran really well behind one of his stable horses Unexpected at Tipperary on his debut, and I like the way he stayed on. He could be quite useful. And Alpha Mix as well, where I thought ran really well in the Coral Cup for a long way. He made most of the running that day and represents a stable who are in great form at the moment, Gavin Cromwell. So a really, really nice race to watch here. Whether I have a bet in it is open to question. If you held a gun to my head, I'd probably go Alpha Mix each way, just because I like him. I think he's always looked to chase in the making, but it's very much a race for your videos. I'd expect Mile Lorindo to keep his unbeaten record for the season intact. Does the smashing horse have anything to do with it? He's just, he was unlucky in last year's RSA. I think he's going to be a Gold Cup horse this season, and this looks a really good spot for him here before perhaps he tackles one of those big races at Leopardstown later on in the season. 355, trappy old race this, but I quite like the chances here. Walk Me Home from the Gavin Cromwell stable. He was in the process of perhaps winning here last time out when he unseated Rider at the last. It was a desperate day for Mark Walsh. I think he fell 3 times. Or failed to complete on his representatives that day. And this one put the tin hat on it, as it were. I think he probably would have won and beat King Alex, but for unseating Rider. He goes back to that track. He's unpenalised. And off a mark of 107, he's clearly quite well handicapped. And in the final race, I quite like Castro Vitera from the Joseph O'Brien stable. Comes out really well on our time figures. Good winner last time out at Naas when stamina was very much to her forte. I do like Tom Hamilton who rides him, and the Joseph O'Brien team obviously in good form. So Castro Vitera is the pick in the last. Okay, thanks very much for tuning in to this edition of the Irish Racing Podcast here at andyholdensspeedfigures.co.uk. And do join us again tomorrow as we're going to be taking a look at the 8 race programme at Dundalk. So until then, it's bye for me for now.